right, Randy, go ahead.
Well, welcome back to Howard Berg. He's been a guest on the show on the networking group a couple of times before. He seems to have added a few things to his bio, and told him earlier, I think he looks younger, but he said thanks, but he doesn't necessarily agree. So Howard Stephen Berg is recognized as the world's fastest reader, thanks to cutting-edge accelerated learning techniques that he developed that turn information overloaded to information assets. Would we all like that? Respected internationally for his contribution to the learning process, he's listed in the 1990 Guinness Book of World Records for reading more than 25,000, yes, that's 25,000 words a minute, and writing more than 100 words a minute. I could do the 100 words a minute, but nobody could read it. Howard has created more than 14 accelerated learning programs, including speed, math, and memory. Berg's Time Warner book, Super Reading Secrets, is in its 28th reprint, and Barrons Books requested him to write a text for students. Howard's Nightingale-Conant program, Mega Speed Reading, has grossed over 65 million. Howard, you can tell us later if you got all that, and established him as a leader in brain-based learning. He's mentioned in a number of books as a leading expert on brain-based learning, and he has been honored by over 9 books that track outstanding professional performance, including Who's Who Among Emerging Leaders and 2,000 Notable American Men. So with all that behind us, please welcome Howard Berg, world's fastest reader.
Well, thank you. Before I start, I'm also the program director for the North Texas Rotary Club, and I put in the chat box, if any of you would like to speak, it's a Zoom meeting. So it's just howardrotary.com, and I'd love to get your book. We're booking December and January now. We've got a lot of speakers booked, but I know a lot of you have things you could tell the group, and I'm just making you aware that if you'd like to speak for the Rotary, you're welcome to use that link. We'd welcome you as a guest. Okay, I'm going to go into my PowerPoint and we'll get started. We'll have some fun. And slideshow and beginning. So as you were told, I'm the world's fastest reader. That's me reading the healthcare bill on Cavuto. And would you agree the best learning comes from learning from the best? So if Bill Gates would teach you business, that would be really good. If Michael Jordan would show you how to throw a basketball, that would be great if you like basketball. And my friend Peyton Manning, if he would show you how to throw a football. Well, Bill, Michael, and Peyton couldn't make it today. But I'm here, and I'm their equivalent in my niche of learning. I just trained the Royal Thai Army in Bangkok before the pandemic, and the Special Forces at Fort Bragg. And I've been doing this for 35 years around the world. So get ready for a life-changing experience. Would you like to learn faster? Say yes. And would you like to be more productive? Say yes. I have more time to do the things you love. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to teach you how to read faster. You'll go 20, 40% faster today. How to understand better. How to remember what you read. How to do speed math and some EQ skills. We'll make it fun. Take notes. Everything I'm showing you, young people can use for school. You use it to make money. They use it to graduate. Right now, more kids live with their parents between 25 and 40 than are married because they can't afford to get an apartment with their college loans. And I'm showing them how to make more money by getting better skill sets. We'll make this fast. This is one of my students. Micah passed the bar at 19 in California. His brother's 22. He's an attorney, flight instructor, and he just became a pilot for Southwest. His 15-year-old sister's in her first year of law school. She'll be the youngest person to get pass the bar in California in history. And the second youngest will be his 17-year-old brother in his second year of law school. I unlocked the secrets to learning. I used to struggle with books and magazines and mail like everyone else. And you may have noticed I grew up in Brooklyn, not in Dallas. And that was Ricky, that was north. That was very far. It was South Brooklyn, but it was north. And it was not a, you were right, it wasn't a good place. It was a lot of gangs, a lot of gangs. And I found one safe place in the neighborhood, and that was the library. Gang kids would rather be dead than caught in a library. So I spent a lot of time reading, which turned out to be a good thing when I got older. I had college reading when I was 11, and I went to college at 17 to major in biology at the State University of New York, Binghamton, which is in the top 10 public colleges. In my junior year, I got interested in the brain and how it works. So I wanted to be a psychobiologist, not a psychotic biologist, but a psychobiologist, where you study the biology of behavior. And at that time, the only way to do it was to have 2 majors. So I told the dean, I want to also major in psych. He said, well, you're a senior next term. You haven't had 1 course in psychology. You have to do the whole 4-year program in 1 year and finish the bio program. And frankly, you're not smart enough. And that's when it hit me. They don't teach learning in school. They tell you what to learn and why to learn and what will happen when you don't learn, but not why you hear one song on the radio and you remember it the rest of your life. And then you read a book like The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and the next day you don't know any habits. So I got up to 80 pages a minute. I did the psych program in a year. I took the graduate record exam in bio. I got an 800, which is in the 99th percentile. I read 48 books in 3 nights, like biochemistry, cell physiology, plant systematics, and genetics, not light reading. And I got 3 questions wrong. So I wondered if it was me or I found a better way to learn. So I started a school. We took kids that were 11 or 15, gave them 30 chapters to read in a sophomore college psych book, lifelong developmental psych. They finished in a week, and 15 out of 18 passed the CLEP for credit. So that was more exciting to me because it meant there was a teachable skill. And like you said, I made 65 million. I didn't get to 65 million. That would have been nice. But the program was the top selling self-help program in history. And Kevin, who helped, is now in prison because he's a crook. You know, Kevin Trudeau is, he hasn't got a good reputation. Let's put it that way. And he's in prison. One of his things, he sold $60 million worth of another program that he didn't make. He kept the money and didn't make any refunds. You're not supposed to do that in business. It's a bad business plan. We double blind tested the program. Everyone doubled or quadrupled. And my favorite things, they helped launch the Comedy Network in the mid 80s with Dennis Leary. And I was Jon Stewart's first guest. And you don't see too many biologists asked to do comedy, and I thought I'd show you why. Mushroom walks in a bar. Bartender says, "Get out. We don't serve your kind." The mushroom says, "Why not? I'm a fun guy." And that's why biologists don't get to do comedy. And lastly, that's who Justin Timberlake and Peyton Manning for Sony, for the e-reader. And again, that's rereading the healthcare bill on Cavuto. That's enough about me. Now we're going to learn some skills. Think about how this can help you and your family succeed. More is printed in a week than all human history through the year 1800. That's a fact. Every 6 months, information doubles, and you only read about 200 words a minute. All that's now online, so you're drowning in data. The new skills you need to know, business skills, changes in your industry. I know, Dawn, you're retooling now for going in a new direction. It's all about learning and learning the things you need to make the adjustments, to rebrand ourselves, especially with 40 million people now out of work. A lot of them are going to have to figure out how to make a living doing something a little different. And that's all about getting new skills. I'll tell you a secret. I hate reading. I love learning. About 15 years ago, I was doing a lot on cruise ships, and my wife wanted to go to Hawaii. And they had a cruise, but they didn't want speed reading, which kind of sucked because that's what I do. So I said, "What do you want?" They said they want a photography, Photoshop, and video teacher. And by the way, Don, I think it's 5-star. They book people with your skills for free cruises, 5-star. You may want to write that down. You could take your friend with you. So I found out that's what they wanted. So I told them that's what I do. I didn't do any of it, but I learned fast. So I knew I'd know it. I read 10 books on Photoshop in 3 hours, 10 books on video in 3 hours, and 10 books on photography. It was 3 days. And if you learn 10 books, you pretty much know how to do something. That's why in college, you take 10 courses and you major. You're an expert. So I went to the cruise. I said, please let these people be totally ignorant of cameras. And the first guy walks in. He's a 38-year veteran photographer with a lens on his camera. Looked like Mount Palomar. It was a $12,000 lens, a telephoto lens. I had a $90 camera, and he wanted me to teach him photography. Then the next guy came in doing Photoshop for 5 years, wanted me to teach him Photoshop. My wife was crying in the front row because they said if I didn't do it, they'd throw us off the boat, not in the water when we got to shore. And they did throw people off the boat. We saw that. So at the end of the week, there were, how many years did you study to learn all that? And I could say I learned it last week in 3 hours. And that's really what I look for. I'm interested in the skills more than the reading. Reading to me is a screwdriver, and I use it to learn things. So let me show you how to read faster. When this is over, pick a book you've read, preferably a nonfiction book, and read for a minute the way you normally do. Don't do anything special. Use a smartphone or a watch to time yourself and see how far you get. Then put a little line in the margin where you finish, so you measured your current speed. Then you're going to go one line at a time with your eyes following your hand in the second chapter as fast as you could comprehend. So as long as you know what you're reading, go quicker till you don't. And that's when you find your ceiling. And slow down just enough. And for 5 minutes, go all the way across, left to right, eyes following your hand, as fast as you can understand, no faster, and not down the middle. Go to this first chapter, test yourself another time for a minute using your hand, and you'll blow past the mark you made by 20 to 40%. It's that easy to go quicker. Remember to share this with the young people, your nieces, your nephews, your grandkids. This is one of my kids, one of my students, not my personal kids. He graduated University of Texas Arlington at 16, 4.0, economics degree. He went to OU at 18 for a master's in math. They paid him $27,000 to teach math at 18 and gave him room, board, books, and tuition. He was very upset because he was a teacher. He couldn't date undergraduates and he was 18. He says, what am I supposed to do? I says, you don't do anything. You're too busy teaching and getting a master's degree to be dating. Go date when you go home. Stop whining. He graduated at 19 with a 3.97 GPA, got 1B, never got one before. He said, what do I tell my mother? I never got a B before. I said, Stephen, you had a 4.0 at 16, a 3.97, master's in math at 19. I think she'll keep you. And it was a happy ending. His mother allowed him to stay, but she made him promise never to get another B. And now he's a professor at Yale. So I'm very proud of what he did. I give him all the credit for his innate talents, but I know what I taught him helped him to leverage them to another level. Would you agree that speed is not as important as learning? Most people, nobody wants to read faster. You want to learn faster, understand better, remember more. That makes sense. Reading faster, no. The guy who owned Evelyn Woods paid me to train his son because he said I went past speed reading to speed learning. And one of the problems with speed reading, it was terrible for learning. You wouldn't remember what you read, or you read something you didn't know and slowed down and learn it and you lost your speed. Either way, it wasn't great. I fixed it. I integrated the psychology of how the brain learns, which is what I studied, with the mechanics so that you could slow down when you needed to and go right back to reading quickly and not lose your speed. And the secret schema, and I'll show you how that works. This passage has no schema, so it's very hard to read. The next page, I have a title that has schema, and instantly it'll make sense. This is the schemaless text. This is easy to do. Many people are able to do this at an early age. Be careful not to rush, or you may have a serious problem. Learn it by yourself, but probably will want someone to help you. Not very meaningful. Here's the title, which is schema, bike riding. This is an easy thing to do. Many people are able to do this at an early age. Be careful not to rush. You may have a serious problem. You can learn it by yourself, but probably want someone to help you. Now it makes total sense. So by teaching people psychological techniques like schema, they can speed up when they need to and slow down when they want to and not lose the speed and learn more, even at high speed. So in your businesses, what are you doing when you communicate to make what you tell people easy to understand? You have words you use that may not make much sense to them. So make sure when you're communicating, you're using schematically meaningful data for them, not just for you. And you'll build more rapport and you'll get more referrals. And you could use this to cut your study time in half, be more productive, finish reading in nights instead of weeks, ultimately make more money. Every decision you make is based on what you know. So I've read about 30,000 books. So I like to think if I'm an idiot, I'm well informed. The more you know, the more options you have, the more things you can do, the more choices that are open to you. So you take your core skills and you learn a little, like Don said, he didn't expect to work 11 years at that place. He leveraged his skills and he could continue doing that. You just have maybe a little tweak here or a little tweak there, and suddenly everything's back to where it needs to be. And that's how it is. We all have to keep adjusting. One of my programs, How to Be a Genius. Look at Blockbuster. They figured out how to make a fortune in DVDs until Netflix came along and said, we'll do DVDs by mail. It's cheaper. And then Blockbuster went broke. And then Redbox came along. And now Netflix doesn't do DVDs much. They basically stream. They kept changing. What worked yesterday, what made your business successful for years, won't necessarily work tomorrow. So you have to stay ahead of the curve and keep learning. Otherwise, you become Blockbuster. And nobody wants to be Blockbuster today. Justin was a C student at 11. Taught him to learn, finished high school at 15, got his associates at 17, bachelor's at 19, master's at 21. He's a professor at Tarrant College at 22. That's exciting. 11-year-old C student, 22-year-old professor. And I do this with companies too. I just teach the same skills, but they use it to make money and the kids use it to learn in school. Now, this is the most important skill, emotional intelligence. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen for this one skill so you could see me a little bit better. Emotional intelligence is what determines your ultimate success in life. Your ability to work well with people and control yourself. Control yourself. Well, a lot of us get tired. We work late. We have meetings. We go to school after work, and we get tired. I'm going to show you how to wake up. And we know the left side of the brain controls the right controls the left. So if you take your left hand and do this, touch your right shoulder, and your right hand touch your left, alternating like the Macarena, try doing it. That's a brain massage. And the same thing, but to your opposite knee. Ideally, you should stand, but we're in cameras, so we won't stand. But when you do this later, stand. Left to right, right to left, left to right, right to left. If you were standing, you'd be moving your hand and your knee, and your brain would be like thinking a little more. And squeeze your right thumb in your right hand like you mean, and say, I feel great. Yes, like you mean it. Because if you don't feel it, you can't create the state. It has to be there. We'll do 3 sets of these. And when you're done, I'll show you how to trigger the state of being awake whenever you need to. Starting with the shoulders, my speed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Knees, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How do you feel? I feel great. Yes. A little faster this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How do you feel? I feel great. Yes. This time as fast as you can go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How do you feel? I feel great. Yes. Now, you know what happens when you do this 3 times? Nothing. You probably would like something. So let me show you how to do that. Remember Pavlov? Rang a bell, fed a dog. Rang a bell, fed a dog. Rang a bell, and the dog drooled. You don't want to drool, but you do want to feel great. The latest studies show habits take 90 days, not 30 days. So every day, slow, medium, fast, then I feel great, yes. Now you're in an important meeting or a test or driving in traffic and you're getting tired. You don't want to stand up in a meeting and start tapping your shoulders. It won't look right. You grab your thumb and say, I feel great, yes, to yourself. And your brain remembers. That's your bell. It remembers how you felt every time you did it, stimulating the left brain, the right brain, and both at the same time. And you wake up. And that's what I was teaching the Green Berets and the Special Forces in Thailand, how to create states. When you have a bad day, you work late. And they have a bad day, they die. And they're given very, very good training. But if they don't remember what they were taught because they got nervous, I teach you to drive. You're ready for your road test. You go for the road test, you failed. Why? I got nervous. It was a test. Anybody here ever get nervous in a test? That's EQ. So by learning how to change states and showing them how to do that, they can be successful. By the way, please write this down. I'm doing a free program for wounded warriors. This is free. I'm working with the guy I met when I trained them. 20 of them are killing themselves a day. If you send them to berglearning.com, I have a link there at Berg Learning, and I'm doing it in August, and I'm doing my entire 4-hour live reading program as a gift for them. So if you know anyone who's a vet or someone who's a wounded warrior, please give them that information. This is free. I'm not charging anything. My dad was a wounded warrior. When they told me 20 of them are killing themselves every day, I said, why? They said they can't find jobs. They said they have a GI Bill. They don't know how to learn. I said, I can teach them that. They can't pay you. I said, I won't charge them. So please get the word out. Last year I had 50 people, but I have room for 5,000. So I'd like to get a couple of thousand of them in the room. It's the same work for me. It's not going to make me smarter, but it will help them. So if you know someone who needs that help, please tell them that I'm ready to help them. And there's no charge for that. I'm doing that to thank them for this service. It's the least we can do. They deserve better than what they have right now. They've already made their sacrifice. What are you doing in your businesses to make sure people are in the right state? How many times people don't succeed because they're in the wrong state? So if I was a driving teacher and I taught you to relax during the test and not just how to drive, how many more successful students would I have? How many more referrals would I get? What states do the people you work with need to be in to succeed? You can create states and teach them how to do it to make them more successful. And you could use this to increase your own productivity, eliminate negative states that hold you back. Maybe you're nervous speaking in public. Most of you shouldn't be because you're doing it here. But as you know, a lot of people can't do that. They can't stand up and talk. They get frightened. It holds them back. You can't be a good marketer in business if you're afraid of people. If you can't talk to people, how you could have a business? And it holds a lot of people back, reducing stress and helping other people be more successful. Now, math is an important skill that most people find very challenging, but it's super easy when you know brain-based learning. Here's the problem: 103 times 107. You should have the answer already. It's that simple. Watch how easy this is. Both of the numbers are greater than 100 and near 100. That's important. It's not 97 and 103. Two numbers greater than 100, near 100. How much bigger than 100 is 103? 3. How much bigger than 100 is 107? 7. So next to the numbers, I write 3 and 7. And you just multiply the two differences. 3 times 7, 21. How hard was that? That's the hard step. The next step is easier. Add diagonally. 103 and 7 is 10, 110. 107 and 3 is 110. Add them up. Either way, pick the easy way, because sometimes one way is easier than the other. You write down 110. 103 times 107 is 11,021. 110, 21. How hard was that? That's math. That's how hard all math is. So when I get a student who says, I can't do math, they can't, because they believe they can't. If you believe you can't play the guitar, you can't. If you believe you can't write, you can't. And if you believe you can't speak in front of people, you can. If you think you can't do math, you can't. Those are EQ problems. So by letting them do something like this, look, you just did this. You can't tell me you can't do math. The real power of this is in business. Any business where there's numbers, and that's almost every business I can think of. Imagine you're a banker or an accountant, a realtor, and you crunch numbers for a prospect or client that quickly in your head, no calculator, and you're right. What are the chances they want to work with you? See, that person's smart. If you watch the news, do you feel our number one problem is too many smart people? I haven't heard that from liberals or conservatives. There's just too many smart people making too many good decisions. When you find someone who can do math like that in an instant correctly, that's someone you want in your inner circle. So it's an instant rapport builder, increases efficiency, and it's fun. The last skill I'm going to do is memory. And when I'm done, I have something important I want to do with you. So I'm going to need 10 things to remember: pole, shoes, tricycle, car, glove, gun, dice, skate, cat, and bowling pins. And if you're like most normal people, you don't know 10 things right now. In 3 minutes, you'll know all 10 backwards and forwards, effortlessly. And it's not a drill, it's a tool. And one of the secrets to learning, you only remember 10% of what you read, but 90% of what you say and do. So say and do this with me, because you're going to want to know this. And this is a drill you can teach the children as young as 3 to learn how to memorize. It works. I've done this with kids as young as 3. Before 3, they don't talk. So when they can only say dada or mama, this is not what you want to teach them. But if they're talking, you can teach this to them. The Greeks discovered thousands of years ago a shortcut for learning. Take a list you know and link it to the list you need to know. What you know is in your memory like a hanger hanging in a closet. You can hang the things you're trying to learn on the hanger. And we can count to 10. If you're here today, I'm pretty confident you can count to 10. We'll use those 10 numbers to learn 10 things super fast. The number 1 looks like a pole. So when I say 1, you say pole. 1. Say it. It's important because you're going to use this. 2 is shoes. How many shoes do you wear? 2. So what's 2? Shoes. And 1, pole. Perfect. Perfect. Excellent. 3 is a tricycle. How many wheels are on a tricycle? 3. So 3 is tricycle. 2 is shoes, and 1 pole. And you're starting to see what I'm doing, so your brain is getting better at it. It's learning the strategy. 4 is a car. How many tires on a car? 4. So 4 is a car. 2. Go to 2. Shoes. 1. Pole. 3. Tricycle. I'm jumping on purpose, so we're not going in order. And you're still learning. 5 is a glove. How many fingers are in a glove? 5. So 5 is a glove. 3 is a tricycle. 1 is a pole. Outstanding. 6 gun. They love them in Texas. Cowboys love 6 guns, right? 6 gun. So 6 is a gun. 4, car. 2, shoes. We went backwards. No problem. 7 is lucky in dice, at least on the first row. So 7 is dice. What's 7? Dice. 5, giving you a clue. Glove. 3, tricycle. 1, pole. And you're almost done. It's that easy. Rhymes work. Say 8 skate. 8 skate. 8 skate. What's 8? Skate. What did they love in Texas? 6, gun. 4, car. And 2, shoes. Perfect. A cat has 9 lives, so 9 is a cat. 9, cat. 7 is lucky in dice. 5, glove. 3, tricycle. 1, pole. One more. How many bowling pins in an alley? 10. 10 bowling pins. Let's do this together. 1, pole. 2, shoes. 3, tricycle. 4, car. 5, glove. 6, what do they love in Texas? Gun. 7 is lucky in dice. 8 rhymes with skate. 9 is a cat. 10, bowling pins. And how does it make you feel? Great. When you feel great, do that. It's stronger. It makes this a stronger association. This is actually how to speed learn numbers. Imagine you're in a hotel. Your room is 314. By the time you get to the lobby, you forgot your room number. Happens to everybody. Here's how to remember numbers. Numbers are hard. Pictures are easy. 3 is a tricycle. 1 is a pole. 4 is a car. Picture this. A tricycle hits a pole on a car. A tricycle hits a pole on a car. Tricycle, what number? 3. Hits a pole, what number? 1. On a car. 4. 3, 1, 4. Tricycle, pole, car. It's also the value of pi in geometry to measure a circle. So I teach this to kids for math and science and history. In business, you use it for due dates, percentages, product SKU numbers, phone numbers, room numbers, anywhere there's a number, and the 0 is the 10 bowling pins. So now you know how to speed learn numbers. In your businesses, what are you doing to make it easy for people to remember what you tell them? You're all giving them information. You gave a 30-minute spiel today, and they were good. They were very good. But will they remember this 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now? It's not enough to tell people what they need to know. You also have to tell them how to remember what they need to know. Like Ricky, you could make a song about what you do and sing a 30-second song. And remember the song. I'm a singer. I'm a songwriter. That's memorable. Well, Don, you can paint a picture about something you took a picture of. Something that's memorable. So people associate that with your skill. One of the young ladies, I can't see the names now, was a realtor. She could talk about a house, but do something that makes the material you give people memorable, so they don't just see who you are, but they remember who you are in the future as well. And when you're giving them instructions, don't just tell them what they need to know. Tell them how to remember what they need to know so they can do it when they need to know it. And you'll get a lot more referrals and happy customers as a result. And you could use this to learn names and facts, numbers, and languages. Like, this is my favorite student. He did 4-year college in 6 months. How do you do that? He went to Thomas Edison. It's Rutgers online program. And you can CLEP out, C-L-E-P, out of 90% of your classes. So he did 5 CLEPs a week. That's really hard, but he's super smart. And he became a missionary. Then he learned Chinese in 3 weeks. So this is not your normal person. I did a graduate course in 7 hours in educational psych. I needed the credits for my teaching license. I was a teacher at the time. I didn't care about the course. I cared about the credits. I needed a C- for 4 graduate credits on an AP test. I got a B+. So I got 4 graduate credits in less than 8 hours for $65. That was a win. I didn't need an A because I didn't really care about learning the subject. I cared about the credits. That was my win in this case. So I was more than happy with a B+. So can I ask a question? You learned something useful. Because I'm going to try to give you, well, I do this for Rotary a lot. So what I'm going to do, I'm trying to help kids. That's my passion now, helping young people. If you watch what's going on in our country, the kids are struggling. We're giving them all this deficit, all these problems, and they don't know how to even write a report. So I'm donating my program to schools. And you pick the school, any school you want. I give my reading program for a year. If you get my learning program online, you can use the Rotary coupon, berglearning.com/Rotary. And there's a coupon, because this is over $1,000. It's $197. And then you use it for you, for your business, to learn skills. Your kids, your grandkids, share it. I give you my cell phone. If you need help, call me. I'll make sure you learn it. And you can do this with all of your family members and pay it forward. Pick a school. you want to help, preferably a school where the kids don't have a lot of money, and call them up. Give me the name of the person to send the link to. I don't know who's in charge of that school. Just do that one thing. Tell me who to send this to, and I will give them the reading program for a year for their kids at no charge. So you're paying for it with the $197, and I'm giving you a $900 bundle for $197 as well. I'm just trying to help as many young people as I can. They're in trouble, and they're the future. And right now, their future doesn't look very good. If you look what's going on in this country and the world, there's a lot of very serious problems. They're going to have to figure out what to do. Kids like Stephen and Micah will be fine. These kids are super smart. I want more kids like that in the world so that when they grow up, they can make a difference. And if you'll help me, go to berglearning.com/Rotary. Use the coupon. Don't pay the price. Use the coupon. It's $197. You'll get reading, writing, memory, and math. You'll read 100% faster. And if you need me to help, you call me and I'll make sure you learn it, or I'll give you your money back. You'll learn how to eliminate writer's block. I wrote a book in 5 hours. I'll give you the course on how I did that. You can write a book in 5 hours, which you can promote your business with. Memory and math, and also how to write a book and how to be a genius. Those are all included for the $197. And then pick a school, and I will gift the reading program to that school for a whole year, no matter how many kids are in the school. It's free. And please let the veterans in your life know about, just go to berglearning.com, and there's a link for them to sign up to be trained for free. That's for the veterans. And I'm sure some of you might be veterans. You're welcome to do it. And many of you know people who are veterans, or you work with veteran groups. Let them know. I'm trying to help them. I'm in the Rotary. I was the program director for Dallas for 2 years. I'm the program director for the E-Club, the Rotary E-Club, and I'm currently the secretary. I was the president last year. So if you would like to help what I'm doing and help yourself at the same time, go to berglearning.com/Rotary. I'll answer any questions any of you might have now. I'll get off the screen share.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you give up the screen share, then I'll put it back to grid view, and just wait till I call on you and then unmute if you have a question. So raise your hand so I can see you. I think I can see everybody. So anybody have a question?
Be happy to answer it.
Randy?
It's not a question, but Howard, I've heard you, probably this is the third time, and for whatever reason, third's the charm. It sticks. But it was fantastic. I mean, everything you did just makes so much sense, and now all I got to do is put it into practice.
And help the kids. I'm trying my best. Yeah. I have to pay people. I have a company like a lot of you, and I have to pay people. So I use the money to pay them so I can give it away. You got to pay bills. That's business. They can't help that. But I'm doing as many free things as I can everywhere. The world's in trouble. I try to do this in third world countries. I was telling the Green Berets, my job is to make sure you don't have to kill people. And people have good jobs, an education, and a family, and a home. They don't blow themselves up. Bin Laden didn't blow himself up. He had a nice house.
Yeah.
Other people did. He did. And my job is if I can help people learn more, make better decisions, better choices, we can have a better world. I can't do it, but I can help other people do it with what I do. And that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm doing as much as I can. I hope some of you will help me accomplish that. And I'm more than happy to help as many young people as I can.
God bless you, Howard.
Thank you.
Okay, Phyllis, Don, you want to unmute your mic and let Phyllis talk? I'll go ahead okay, go ahead.
Well, hi, Howard. I'm a fellow New Yorker, grew up in Long Island, Wantagh. So nice. Love to hear the accent. It's awesome.
I'm also into yoga. I do yoga. I was a yogi when I was younger. When I got out of college, I went to the ashram every day.
Oh, you did.
Yogi Bhajan, Kundalini yoga.
Yep. Well, I wanted to tell you, just, this isn't a question, but our work is many in schools, and we've been in Dallas School, Dallas ISD, integrated into their PE program, bringing yoga and other mindful practices. We're now also working with teachers. And so if you're looking for, I mean, you've been around in this for a while, but maybe there's a way we can even have a conversation.
Yeah. I'll give you my cell phone. Let me put it in the chat box. Yeah, I'm working with teachers right now in Oklahoma, in Whitebead, which is about 30 minutes south of Oklahoma City. Of course, with pandemic, I'm doing it on Zoom, but I'm working with a lot of teachers around the country. And as I move to Florida, I can do it on Zoom or I can fly back. It's only like on Spirit, it's like $90 to fly here.
I know, but you have to pay to use the toilet. That's the problem on Spirit.
Yeah. You have to pay if you want a seatbelt.
Thanks for the question, Phyllis. I've muted you. Alini, did you have a question?
I just want to say that I'm so impressed. This is amazing. Oh my gosh. I really need help. English is my second language, and I always had problems of memorizing things in Portuguese, but in English is just the worst. Like, I went to real estate school like last year, and I still have all my books around me because every time somebody asks me a question, I doubt myself and I need to double check. I was like, I know the answer, but let me check real quick. So I need, exercise to just stick the information in my brain.
I was the keynote at the Prudential Realty National Conference. This will help you a lot. And it won't just help you with that, but this, as a business person, we need to keep learning skills.
Yes.
How to sell, how to market, how to write copy, how to communicate, body language. There's so many. That's what the difference is between a successful business person and a business person. It is, Dan Kennedy is a good friend of mine, and he used to say, your first business in business is marketing. I don't care what you do for a living. If you don't have customers, you don't have a business. Ricky, you write songs, but someone has to pay you to sing them. And Alina, so houses, somebody has to want a house. So the marketing comes first in business. And then we can do a lot of good things for the community because of what we're succeeding at.
Okay, I'm going to give Lloyd the last question, and then we got to land the plane.
Yeah, Howard, good seeing you again. That learning for schools, is that available for like overseas schools?
Yes, I don't care. I volunteered. In my Rotary club, the Dallas club, was doing a school in Malawi, which is the poorest country in the world. And the past district governor is a friend of mine. I gave him a whole set of my programs. They didn't even have to do it online. They have no online. So I gave them the DVDs and just take them there and give them to the kids.
Okay.
Try to help. We need to do something.
Thanks, Howard.
We're successful. We need to help people who aren't.
Okay, and Howard, the last question I have is, actually, I have all of your stuff on my bookshelf from one of the other times you were here, and it's in hard form. Is it now all online?
All online. Nobody.
Because I would really like to have it online as opposed to on DVD.
I'll give you it as a gift. Send me an email. And
you got my email, but yeah, okay. I'll remind you. The other question I had for you. This is. One of my clients founded and was the CEO of Heroes on the Water, and they do a thing with veterans with PTSD, and he recently passed away. And one of the things I was hoping to do is something in his honor or whatever to make available to that whole community. Is this, would that be something that they could?
Yes, my dad had PS. He was on Normandy Beach.
Because that's a war. I mean, that's like a wounded warrior. You're just wounded.
Oh yeah, no question. No, that you don't have to ask.
Okay.
I have room for 5,000 people. I'm not worried it's going to fill up.
Okay. Well, I assumed the answer, but that was the first thing that popped into my mind because he just passed away, and I was able to. Yeah. And I was able to, I was thinking of something, and to me, this is one of those divine appointments.
I'd be happy to do. I'm going to do it anyway. So I'd rather have a full room of 5,000 people that I can help than 50 people like the last time. It was great to help the 50. They appreciated it, and I accomplished something. But I'm looking at, I'm saying I could have 4,550 more people, and my goal is to fill the room with these people and help them. It's the same work, and I'd like to just help more people. If I'm going to do it, I might have to maximize the outcome.
Well, thanks, Howard. And it's about, let's see, it's 12:59. So I'm going to real quickly, not a lot of need to do anything. We'll give, don't leave before we give Howard a rounding applause here. This was awesome.
Thank you.
And Howard, I got to say,
Thank you, Howard.
I think you should stay on Zoom because really, one of the challenges, you go so fast and you have so much information to offer that when we were doing it in the room, my biggest problem is I have ADD and I was distracted. But I think the power, not only did you do a great job today, but the power of doing it on Zoom where we were able to focus, I think the results are going to be much higher. And so I'm going to think about this because I would like to see your audience expanded here, especially coming out of COVID, especially with people trying to figure out how to accelerate and do what they're doing and consume new information and stuff. So I'm really going to pray and think about that. So I really appreciate what you're doing there. Next week,